así del cerro para así.
Pues no sé, se miraba así.
Imagínate que vengas caminando y no te das cuenta.
Qué loco. Mira lo que curioso que está el agua más.
Pero mira, allá el agua iba para allá, ¿va? Y aquí va para allá. Es lo que te digo.
Sí.
Que raro, ¿va? Como que hay llegar a un punto en que se desbalancea. ¿Qué tan piedras tan pesadas caerían que se rompió hasta la carretera? Ya estamos bien cerquitas.
Pues deja tú. Ahí voy. Deja tú lo pesado, la velocidad.
O la cantidad.
Dale. Pues mira.
¿Cómo? No, esto sí está cabrón. ¿Tú? ¿No sacaste de esas expresión?
Pues sí. ¿Qué otra expresión puedes decir si ves las piedras?
Pom.
No.
Track. Ta.
Sí. Mira, Fallen Rocks.
¿Dónde dice?
Ahí están los letreros.
No lo de. Con una piedra grande que se venga, se vienen todas. Estos están quemados. Estarán exploradas las montañas, así que lo vayan a ver, como a ver si hay cuevas, a ver si hay oro y todo eso. ¿Tú crees? Yo digo que
sí.
Yo digo que no, todas no, unas cuantas sí. Cochino así los palos estos así como tierra, es que se vienen las piedras. Yo creo que sí llovió mucho y se aguadó la tierra y vientos. Mira aquí como aquí. ¿Te fijas cómo se ve? acá. Ya extraño hacer ejercicio. Porque ya se me bajaron mis bracitos que tenían las paponas estas. Ya se me hace falta todo. Y una paz.
Mira, acá están las bolsas que tenían allá.
¿Qué será? ¿Qué será?
Sobre.
¿De piedra?
De tierra se me hace.
Yo creo que sí.
Y allá se mira una cueva.
¿Una cueva? Aquí es el...
Acá andan caminando la masa.
¿Está chingón, no?
Mira el tren.
¿Dónde? Ay, también estaría chingón andar por el tren aquí, ¿eh? ¿Quién sabe
¿Se
por dónde?
puede?
Pues velo, ese es de viaje. Mira,
O
es el
más perro.
Amtrak. Más chingón, va. Hay que echarnos
Expectativa.
un tripcito en tren, ¿va? Yo creo que nos hubiéramos podido venir en tren para acá. Se me hace que sí. Ahorita voy a investigar. Vamos a dejar la troca aquí, luego nos vamos en tren para allá y luego nos regresamos con la troca. Estaría chingón. Pestañas. Mira, aquí también es Aspen, por aquí. Ahí dice Aspen Next Right.
Es Glenwood.
Glenwood. Ahí está el hotel. ¿Es ese?
¿No es este?
Sí. Ya,
Gracias a Dios.
Apesta Jessica. Ahí están los...
Es que agua para mí el vasito que tiene así.
No sé dónde es, güey, pues ¿qué trae el hotel?
Era para abajo, yo creo.
Pues que no.
Pues yo vengo siguiendo a este güey.
Siéntate bonito, mi amor. Pues
Es de
no
abajo.
sé.
Apesta Jessica. Está chido para acá.
Está feo ahí.
Está feo. Uy, está grande. Pensé que era más chiquito. Ahí hay muchas rajas que son acá.
Pues donde quiera.
Pero a ver, unas se pueden rentar. que hacer eso primero hoy, ya mañana las vueltas todo el día. Mañana va a estar a 95.
Ya me gustó.
En la noche nos ponemos a caminar. Por los cosas. Tópate, robotina.
Dale.
Mira, nos vamos a subir a aquellas de allá arriba. ¿Sí las ves? Ahí nos vamos a subir. Sí,
En las canastitas.
en las canastitas anaranjadas que van para allá arriba.
¿Ya miraste?
Ese es el hotelero.
A ver, préstame el teléfono. Voy a mandarle un video a Viaje.
Préstaselo para que lo vea, tía. Pestañas. ¿Quién son los Deja, voy a ver. Así se puede hacer bien.
Ok.
Sí, ocupa mover la troca y está prendida. ¿Cuántas? A ver qué se siente guardar el mapa porque. Guarda.
Mira ahí cómo se movió. Ahorita que bajo.
No seas mamón. No seas mamón.
Naomi.
Como un avión se siente, ¿no?
Sí. Creo que se mira más mejor cuando bajas.
Me vale madre, yo voy bien cagado. Están chingando.
Vamos a la montaña. Pues vamos a estar stock.
No.
Sí, cuando te vas a.
Pues sí se siente mariposita.
Lo chido que se siente aquí es de que. No sé.
Es que, ¿qué?
Es de que vas bajito, pues, o sea, de aquí al piso no tanto.
¿Cómo no? ¿Ve para abajo?
Pues estoy bien. Vayan a tener airecito.
Por aquí, mira. ¿Qué siente Naomi?
Mariposita, ¿qué te haces, güey? Pues está altísimo.
Pues sí.
Aquí sí estoy en otro lado.
Ahorita se me taparon los oídos.
Del susto del culo.
Mira, ve para atrás.
No, ni verga, no puedo voltear. Ahorita que vengan, vamos a entrar a aquel lado.
Nomás voltea tantito. Ay, ¿es eso qué? Ni miraste bien.
Mira, está bien. Estas van agarradas al cable, el cable es el que va tirándose.
¿Eso?
Sí. No se van como haciendo. ¿Ves? Siempre como dijimos, para mirar desde. Para mirar desde arriba de un cerro. Arriba hay un parquezote. ¿Ya viste el mapa, Aurelio?
Sí. Pues no miré, pero miré allá.
¿No te montar un ratote?
¿Vamos hasta lejos? ¿Un poquito lejitos o mucho?
Un poquito.
Ya mero llegamos.
¿Qué seriedad de susto?
No
Ahorita
te
para.
vaya a caer tu teléfono abajo.
No, ahorita. ¿Qué piensas de esta experiencia?
Está chingona. Está impactante. Pero, oye, pensé que ya íbamos a llegar
No.
ahorita.
Sí, está lejito, está chido eso. Mira el pájaro ese azul, mira, qué bonito. ¿Lo viste?
Yo no.
¡Acá toma!
¿Cuántos metros será?
No sé.
Pues si tira todo el colito.
Ajá.
Vete al hotel. Ando, güey. Ya llevamos 5 minutos, literal. Mi niña hermosa. Es un boy.
¿Mira un caminito?
Ahí, los dos entonces.
Qué loco.
Tranquila.
Te lo pedí.
Mira, mira.
Amanda.
¿Qué es eso? ¿Ya los juegos?
Sí, pues en los juegos. Yo me quiero subir a este.
No, no, pues va.
Pa, ese vamos a ir.
No, vaya.
Vamos tú y yo, Naomi.
Está grande, ¿eh?
¿Sale, Naomi?
No, no se enculo. Mira, la de
Mira,
esta.
acá, ¿por qué están estos caminitos?
Yo creo que son las que puedes caminar.
Oh, son los del tour guide, baby.
No, las cabañas están dentro del cerro.
Oh.
Vamos a ir a las cavernas. Mira.
¿Sí nos subimos?
Mira, viene, ahí viene. Chécate. Ahí viene por enfrente.
Ah, sí.
Creo que tú le puedes decir la de la
Sí,
velocidad.
sí, sí, sí.
Oh, ya sí.
¿Y sabes?
¿Podemos subirnos, papi?
Mira, mira.
No sé si dejé. Ah,
No.
se puede dos, mira, ahí va el niño. Mira.
¿Pero le prendas?
Pues obviamente.
No, te cago.
Yo sí me subo. ¿Tú, Naomi?
No que subimos ahorita.
No, no se
sí,
puede.
Es
neta.
conmigo. Ya ponte el tiro, ¿ok?
Porque aquí no vamos a salir. Pero ya hasta que entre el freno.
Porque ahorita ya nos vamos a bajar.
Y luego vamos a dar otra vuelta.
Ahorita.
No, ya acabamos de andar turisteando, hija.
Ahorita ya una tarde nos vamos a bajar.
Nomás primero vamos un ratito aquí.
No, mucho rato. You ready? Naomi.
Espérate todavía, no hasta que se frene.
Ay, ay, ay. Ay, sí. Que más que después no
Ah,
se
sí, me quiero.
Sí. Sí, voy a comprar una careoleta. Saluden a la cámara, pues. Con su mejor rostro. El mejor. Sin estar. A ver tú, Toñito. No, ya. No hace nada. ¿Los qué? Mira, Pérez. Mira. Está bien grandote. ¿Y eso de verdad? ¿O aquí es? Aquí vamos a entrar primero.
Ok. Pues en lo que llegan voy a...
¿Cómo te sientes ya tú?
Oh, acá está.
¿Te mareaste, sí? Mira, Pérez, ¿es eso? ¿Así?
A ver, deja saco mi teléfono. Ahí está.
Ni ver. No, ni más. Mira, nos hubieran ido por abajo y luego nos hubieran regresado para acá. Para la...
I'll watch your bag. I'll stay down here.
Allá están otras cavernas abajo.
Ai, Deus, eu just grande contexto que o álbum completo. Esse é o da câmera foi o branco.
Ai, Luis. Still always smooth up. Man, aber that is thrilled too.
Welcome to our smelly tunnel. Little musky in here. Yeah, welcome inside the tunnel.
Thank you.
Of course.
Oh, qué rico está, bien fresco. Oh.
Right. So it does smell a little musky in here, but that's for a pretty good reason. So you are currently inside a man-made tunnel. We had to drill 132 feet in our earth today to walk inside our cave rather than crawl. The only other way to get in our cave system is something called jam crack. It's only about 8.5 inches wide for 20 feet in the vertical direction. So you can't go down just like this. You got to put one arm up and one arm down to offset your shoulders, and then your nose still sticks out too far. So you have to decide for about a 2-hour journey if you're going to turn your head this way or this way for that entire amount of time. And sometimes you still aren't moving, so you use a fancy caving technique called compression breathing, where you push out all the air in your lungs, move down a couple inches, breathe out, and again for a couple hours. Sound like fun? Yeah, I don't think so either. So we'll be thankful for our smelly tunnel here and get headed into the
Estamos conociendo esto, se llama cueva.
Que se va a acabar el oxígeno de abajo y vamos a durar 45
Puede haber
segundos.
murciélagos.
Que va 2 horas debajo del agua.
¿Qué?
Nada.
Welcome inside the cave.
Este es una
Mi mamá
cueva.
se pudiera meter aquí.
Mi mamá tampoco.
Welcome inside.
Thank you.
Yours.
Y esta es una cueva.
Hijo de su.
Dios guarde. Dios guarde.
Ahí te voy a cargar.
Estamos aquí en una cueva.
So welcome inside the earth. We call this massive cave room the barn because when Pete Preble discovered it in 1960, he crawled in from the bottom up, looked up and said, wow, this looks as big as a barn. You are currently in the second largest cave room in Colorado. It is nearly the length of a football field. From this wall to the next, only short 12 feet of that football field length, so pretty massive and fairly old. Our cave system is estimated to be about 2.5 million years old. So that's pretty young in a geologist's eyes, but it has been forming, the process of that, starting about 325 million years ago, and there was actually a sea in this part of Colorado. So sea creatures, small and large, were swimming around up here, but as they died, their shells and bones sunk to the bottom, making this big layer of calcium carbonate. Over time, the weight and the pressure compressed those bones and shells into limestone rock. So you're currently inside a limestone cave. About 95% of caves in the world are made out of limestone, and you're in one inside the earth right now, which is pretty cool,
yeah.
figuratively and literally, because it's about 52 degrees in here year round. So actually, no matter how hot or cold outside it is always 52 degrees in here. So kind of like some earth-made air conditioning here today, but we are in the cave barn, so I think it's time to check out some cool barn animals. Yeah, question?
So you're telling me it should be burning hot outside, and the cave should be just cool.
Yeah, so if it's 100 degrees, it's 52 degrees in here. If it's 0 degrees, it is 52 degrees in here. So in the winter, it's a little bit more like a heater. Now the earth kind of holds on to the average temperature of its surroundings. It just holds on to that all the time. So we're kind of regulating it by checking up on it, and it still holds that just at 52 degrees all the time. So it is pretty cool. But I think it is time we're going to check out some barn animals here. So now is the time to turn on your cave imagination, all right? And we'll come and check out our first barn animal right over here. He's got a nice big snout, a nostril, an eye, and an ear back here. We have our cave pig, Wilbert. So Wilbert's pretty cool. Wilbert's also drooling a little bit. He's got something hanging off his chin. We call that an evaporometer. We have scientists coming in about every 3 weeks to see how much water leaves that little test tube. Because we made a big hole in the side of the earth, we could dry out our cave system. We don't want that to happen, so that's why we installed 2 sets of doors, making that an airlock tunnel. And we just have this to kind of regulate that, make sure we're doing a good job. Our second barn animal is right over here. He's got an eye, a chin, some feathers there in the back, and some little kind of chicken legs. Call him our cave rooster. Kind of looks like a rooster sticking out of the rock here. And while not a barn animal, we also kind of got a fish up here. He's got a kind of his tail right there and hanging out. So definitely lots of cool formations. The mineral in his background here that's making him kind of stick out, that red mineral is called limonite. So along with our hot spring mineral, our seawater that was up here, our hot spring mineral water was also up here about 100 million years ago, carving away our cave system and leaving behind minerals like our limonite up here. It is a form of iron oxide, or basically some rust on our walls. So, and that's where most of our colors come from, our hot spring mineral water. Along with minerals today, you also get to see two types of crystals. The number one being calcite. We have a lot of calcite. We also have one other one called aragonite. It's just right up here on the wall. We only have one really small spot. You can see, all right, yeah, you can kind of see it up there. It's kind of small and spiky. So hopefully all of you can see that up there. This mineral right here gets cavers really excited, because when they see this, it also shows them there's more cave system to be found. That's because it's made by small wind gusts. So usually when you have a big cave system, you get a nice breeze, kind of call it the earth breathing in here. So that's kind of why that crystal is really important. We don't have a ton of it because it is very fragile, and just by brushing your t-shirt against it, thousands of years of formations can crumble there. So it is kind of cool. You're also going to see today, I do have a severe case of the cave crazies. By the end of this, you may have one of those as well, but I actually know the location from where all of that is coming from. It is our cave brain up here on the back side of the wall. So this massive kind of hive-looking thing, we call that our cave brain. Truly, it's actually a fossilized bacteria colony. So when that seawater is up here, it was growing larger and larger as it was taking in its surroundings. But after the water table dropped, it became fossilized, and our cave got a brain. So we got something to blame it on in here. So along with some cave crazies, we also have a little bit of fairy magic going on due to one little fairy on the side of the wall up here. All right, so she's pretty tiny. Up here, she's got a little tutu on right there. Her legs are pointed like a ballerina, a little set of wings up there and a face. We call her Callie because she's made out of calcite, and with her comes a pretty cool legend. That legend is, if you get a drop of water on you inside the cave, call that a cave kiss or a fairy kiss, and legend says you'll have good luck for the rest of the day. So I'll wish you all luck in getting one of those drops of water, and we're going to keep coming through this way here and checking out the rest of the barn. Alright, hopefully that kind of answered your question there. So I was telling you a little bit about jam crack earlier before. So in 1960, there was this guy named Pete Preble. He was crawling through our fairy caves up above us and arrived at a room called the Chocolate Factory. If anybody's been up there today, you might have saw that Chocolate Factory room. As he was standing there, he started feeling the strong wind gusts. He really wasn't sure where exactly it was coming from, so he started to kind of crawling on through that Chocolate Factory. Arrived at a crack that was about 8.5 inches wide and ended up being about 20 feet in length. Right behind our wall here is that jam crack. So fairy caves up above, crawled all the way down here and exited at the bottom. You're going to see a red light down there in a moment. That is the original entrance to the cave, the exit of jam crack. Call that room at the bottom purgatory, because even after all that, you still got to do a lot of climbing in order to get to the top of the barn. And that is how our cave was originally discovered in 1960. After that, we're going to head on down to Kings Row and check out some stuff down there as well. But don't miss that original cave entrance. No, make sure.
El guarda no tiene fin esta. Vamos a salir allá en el fondo, la zona de los suelos ahorita. No lo vamos a regresar ahorita a la fiesta.
And originally, you also had to pull that to get down back to the fairy cave. So check out that red light, and then you can come on down to Kings Row.
Aquí encontraron una. Váyase.
Esa es la luz para la otra parte.
cool lights, but I would like to introduce you all to the one and only King's Row. So welcome down to King's Row at 150 feet below. You have just arrived in the most decorated cave room in Colorado with over 3,000 different calcite formations. It gets that cool title, those being a mix of stalactites, holding on tight to the ceiling over here, and stalagmites like Jabba the Hutt hanging out in the rocks. If you don't know who Jabba the Hutt is, it also kind of looks like a monkey holding a staff right there. He is our oldest cave formation, estimated to be about 450,000 years old. So he's been hanging out for a while. We also got this one right here where a stalactite and a stalagmite got in a stalagfight right about there. We call that a column, because that's what you call them when they get in a stalagfight, all right? Don't take my jokes for granted, okay? They're pretty marvelous, you know? I'll stop before I hit rock bottom, okay? We also have the Leaning Tower of Glenwood Springs right here, so welcome out to Glenwood. Got this guy in the back with a big open mouth, a cheek, a nose, an eye. We've got Cave Kong screaming out of the rock back there. We've also got Cave Claus in our cave. He's got a hat on his head, a beard right there, and a bag over his shoulder. So Cave Claus, or Santa Claus in the cave. And we even have a princess inside our cave system. She's got a little face right there, a bird on top of her head. Her hands are together, and those 7 dwarfs in front of her. We have stalagmite inside the cave. So she's pretty sweet as well. And then way over to your left here, we got a face, an arm, and a leg. We got Pillsbury Doughboy stuck in the dough with our drooling crab. He's got some nice big claws, eyes, drool coming out of his mouth because he has got the cave cravings for the Pillsbury Doughboy. Of course, he's stuck in stone, so he's going to be drooling like that for eternity. And then lastly here we got this row of stalagmites. And when Pete Preble climbed in here for the very first time in 1960, he thought those kind of looked like chess pieces, and the back row of a chessboard, being King's Row, is actually how this room got its name. So, though this room looks incredible with all the lights on, we're going to check it out in its natural environment here, which is in the dark. To see the coolest formation of all. Oh. Yeah, can you see that? Yeah. Like right in front of you. No? Oh, maybe with some black lights then, all right? So this mineral calcite has a pretty cool ability to glow. The way that it glows is the electrons inside the calcite get excited by these UV rays. When they get excited, they start to cave rave a little bit. They move around, they create some energy in the form of a photon or a glow. So we have 2 types of glows we get to check out here today. The first one is called fluorescence. You can see it the best in those stalactites kind of way in the back there, glowing that whitish greenish color. That's something called fluorescence. If you want a picture of the black lights, now is the time to take one. I am going to have you put your phones away and just
Dice aquel que cómo andamos.